Hi guys, Aceface back for Twisted Dice with another Tyranids videos for you. It's Wednesday, so you get your weekly dose of Tyranid Tactics. And today I've got an interesting subject that you can see from the title. Are Hormagaunts better than Termangants? Really interesting subject that you guys have brought to my attention through your comments. So thanks very much for that. And if you haven't already, please do hit the subscribe button. Make sure you put that big thumbs up and leave your comments, because I read every single comment. This video basically comes from your comments, guys. So I read every single comment. I reply to the majority of them if I can. So please do let me know what you think in the comments below. And thank you very much, guys. We have hit our 10,000 subscriber mark. So we can't thank you enough. Thank you to all the new guys. It's a great time to be part of the channel. So let's jump into this video today. And as I said, this came from the fact that in some of my recent videos, I looked at kind of best units. I've also looked at some of what are quote unquote the competitive lists for Tyranids that are doing well at the moment. And quite a bit of information has been coming up around people using Hormagaunts. Now, my opinions on Hormagaunts has always been a bit of, I don't really rate them. You know, why would you pay that extra point to lose your gun for a little bit of extra speed? I couldn't see where that was working. And I have reached out to a lot of people. As I said, I've read your comments around the reasons why you would take Hormagaunts. So I've started to kind of put a bit of time into really kind of working out how they fit into a list. And I thought we would talk about it today to see whether you're making the same mistake potentially I'm making, and actually we're putting Termangants in our list where maybe we need to be looking at Hormagaunts. So, and I'm going to put the caveat out there as well. Start to think about gargoyles as well. So anyway, so let's just talk about their profiles first of all. So Termagant and a Hormagaunt, they're almost exactly the same profiles with the exception of a couple of factors. So the Termagants move 6 inches and your Hormagaunts move 8 inches. So that's the big change. Also, a Hormagaunt has an extra attack, but that is caveated by the fact that the Termagant has a gun. The gun is a 12-inch strength 4 AP- gun. Now, the reality is, with a ballistic skill 4, a unit of 10 of those are going to do very little damage to very little. You know, even a unit of poxwalkers, for instance, with no kind of buffs or anything, you're struggling to do a lot of damage. Yes, you will be wounding them on 3s, but you're only going to hit with, half of those shots. You're then going to wound with, 3/4 of them. Then they'll make a few saves. You'll maybe kill 2 or 3 of those poxwalkers. You're hardly making a dent in them. So you're not doing a lot of damage with the guns. So that's not necessarily doing much. Yes, in mass, you can do something. You have then got access to rerolls and what have you. But in a nutshell, those guns don't do an awful lot. But at the same extent, those Hormagaunts, their attacks don't do very much. Because again, they're still hitting the same, yes, that extra attack, you're getting twice as many attacks, but the reality is they're still hitting on 4s, so, and they still have AP-. Yes, they can reroll 1s because they're sliding talons, which is good, but they're still not necessarily hitting or hurting very much. They're only strength 3. So both of them, from their attack profiles, both in shooting and in combat, they're not doing very much. So you're not taking these guys as a damage dealing unit. That's not why you're taking them. We all kind of know that, but it's worth kind of thinking about that when you're working out what you're going to take. You're taking these guys very much as a troops tax, because you're building your battalions, your patrols, your brigades. So you need these units in your list anyway. So your other options is obviously you have warriors, you have rippers, but a lot of time, you're trying to keep things cheap and cheerful, and these are a great option for them. So you're using them for that. You're also using them to hold and take objectives, and that's where the argument really kind of comes into place, because objectives are king in 9th edition. Taking those primary and those secondary objectives are absolutely crucial for winning the game. Now, which of those does it better? Does a Termangant do it better, or does a Hormagaunt do it better? Well, the reality is a Hormagaunt will do that job better. And the reason why it will do that job better is because it will be able to get to things quicker. So that faster movement means that it can get across the board, particularly on that first turn, and start scoring those important secondary objectives, as well as getting onto those primary. Now, yes, they're going to die, but they're going to die just as quick as a Termagant. So you're paying that extra point a model, and that's all it is, a point a model, to make sure that you can get out and get on those objectives. So does that make them more useful? And that's a really interesting thing, because actually I'm starting to think that it does, because of those key secondary objectives. Scoring those is going to win you the game. So I think actually, and when you think about it, you're talking about 50 point for a 10-man unit or 60 point for a 10-man unit, right? It's only 10 points, right? 10 points, yes, you know, we're trying to get things as efficient as possible, but 10 points is not a huge, big game changer within your points. You can probably find that. But that extra 10 points might mean that you get in a crucial position on that first turn, which you wouldn't be able to do with a Termagant. So it sounds like maybe that Hormagaunt is going to provide more use in your list than a Termagant. So I think, particularly if you're taking small units to do a job, it is better to take a unit of Hormagaunts over Termagants. Now, would I take a big unit of Hormagaunts? No, I wouldn't, because they're not going to do much damage. They're going to die very, very quickly, so they're not worth it. Would I take a big unit of Termagants? Much more likely, because you're going to use the Termagants more potentially as a big juicy screen. They're going to stand back, and they're going to maybe take home objectives more effectively, because with a little bit of shooting, they're going to sit there, they're going to obviously sit in synapse range, and they're going to hold down an objective. So is there still room potentially for both? Yes, there is. But maybe when you're building your list and you're looking for a unit that is going to jump onto an objective quickly, that's going to score you vital secondary objectives, the Hormagaunt probably synergizes into that list better. You know, both of those two units don't necessarily fulfill the control part of the cap strategy, because both of them are very, very soft. They are all very much, they're hugely dependent on that aggravate part of the cap strategy to make sure that you are, you know, taking the heat off your key units so they can control objectives. So from that point of view, it doesn't really make a difference whether you're taking the Hormagaunts, which in theory are a more aggressive unit than the Termagants, because both units don't really do a very good job at holding an objective for any length of time. But the ability to get to an objective quickly, to score it, and to make your opponent clear you off there is potentially something that is going to be very vital in your game plan. So I think when I start to synergize and start to work out and start to put my list together, I think that potentially a Hormagaunt might be the better choice. And I would love to hear your comments. But what it did get me thinking about is, do we just, you know, take maybe some Rippers or some, you know, or keep it to Termagants and then start to look at Gargoyles? I still think probably not, because obviously they're not in that troops choice. You're then starting to build a list of very, very different, but they do then provide that. You then pay an additional point again, so you're up to 7 points, but you have got blistering pace at 12 inches movement and the ability to deep strike. So then does a Gargoyle start to come into your plans? Well, maybe that's a video for another day, guys, but definitely something and a bit of food for thought. So in reflection, I think I was wrong, and you guys have very much opened my eyes to it. So thank you very much, you guys that have kind of spoke about it in the comments. And I've spoken to a lot of guys that play a lot of Tyranids. And what I would say also reflection is don't always listen to what people say is the best and worst. I keep coming back to this, guys, but I cannot stress it enough. Use your mind, listen to other people. If someone says this works really well for me, just break it down and find out why it works well for them. Because maybe if it works well for them, it will work well for you. Our meta and what is good only comes from people that we believe in and us copying them, or us using our own initiative to try stuff and find it works for us. There is nothing else to it. You know, you can look on you can look on math, you can look on whatever, but actually a lot of it is the proof is in the pudding, trying it, find out how it works in your list and whether it's successful for you. So don't necessarily just be a sheep and think there are 2 units for Tyranids that are good, because this is not correct. There is lots of good stuff in there. There's lots of good stuff for all armies. So give stuff a go, listen to other people, try their ideas, because I have and I was wrong. So thank you very much for listening, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I'll be back next week with some more Tyranid tactics. Give those Hormagaunts a go and let me know how you get on. See you soon. Bye for now.